how do you like to work with brands on a compensation level? How do you like for brands to reach out to you?
Working with influencers is our top of funnel strategy to bring in new customers.
What's the weirdest thing you've ever tried to recycle?
Fast fashion comes at kids pretty hard.
And people need to feel proud of themselves without feeling judgy of other people.
That sustainability influencer probably has a very wide reach because everyone has a baseline care about the planet.
How do you stand out with that messaging?
A small step makes a huge difference.
Welcome to the Ready, Set, Click podcast, where we talk digital marketing strategies. Grab a coffee or something a little stronger and settle in for this episode.
Hello and welcome to the Ready, Set, Click podcast. My name is Paul Kahn. I'm joined today by Paula Mugabi, who is a sustainable fashion blogger. Welcome, Paula.
Thank you, Paul.
And also Rosie Kelly, who's a content manager at TerraCycle. Welcome, Rosie.
Thank you.
So today we are talking about how to use creators in the sustainability space. What are the things that matter there, and how has that changed over time? So I want to start with you, Paula. What brought you into the sustainability space, specifically as a fashion blogger?
So I did start out as a regular fashion blogger, but I just got tired of all the shopping and the consumerism. I'm not a saint, but I just felt that it was not right for me.
So what was it about the shopping that just got overwhelming?
I think it just felt so excessive and just telling people to always buy stuff when I couldn't even wear the stuff myself. Just too many clothes and nowhere to really wear them.
Right. And we're all in this world, specifically living in New York, where if you have, you can't have closets and closets of stuff. And that's one piece. But the other piece that you brought up is you couldn't even wear it. So were you feeling like you were being placed into partnerships and things like that, where you were like, I don't really want to be doing this? Yeah.
And even stuff that was not really practical.
So what? Okay, this is very interesting. Who wears unpractical clothes? I have not worn unpractical shoes in years. Whenever I wear shoes that hurt, my feet start to hurt. So what kinds of things that you're talking about?
Well, I guess practical is relative, but I guess for my lifestyle, I'm always running around with kids, running around the city, taking the train. You live in New York City, so you're gonna live in sneakers most of the time or comfortable boots. So some of the clothes, high heels with socks, you're probably not going to really wear those.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so, Rosie, can you tell us how you ended up at TerraCycle and what was your journey to go there?
Sure, yeah. So I grew up with social media. It's always been sort of an interest of mine back even in the days of MySpace.
You had a MySpace page.
Oh, I had a MySpace.
Did it blink? Was it a blinky space?
I made my own. I coded my own background and everything.
Nice.
That's where I learned to code. So.
How long was Tom one of your top 5 friends?
Oh, not long. And then I was able to code more than a top 8. So then you could have top 16 or a top 3, and that was a very exclusive club to be a part of back when I was in middle school, high school.
Okay, so you were on MySpace in middle school, and then what kept that journey moving forward?
So I always found it to be interesting how many people you can communicate with via the internet. I'm sort of an introvert at heart, but the internet sort of served as a place for me to be a little bit more open, a little bit more myself, and communicate with more people. So I pursued it in college, studying advertising and new media, and then I've been working in social media for the past 8 years, primarily in nonprofits or mission-oriented companies.
Okay, and I think that's really important, talking about mission right now, because one of the interesting changes that I think we've all seen in social media, especially with creators, is that sense of mission. And that sort of goes to what both of you are talking about. Like, it can't always just be, I want to do this thing and it be very transactional. People want to believe in what they're doing, and that's extremely important. So when you moved to TerraCycle, can you talk about your role over there?
Yeah, so I'm a content manager. I oversee our creator strategy, our social email blog strategy, and just a little background on TerraCycle. We are on the mission to eliminate the idea of waste through recycling, reuse, and recycled content. We've been around for 20 years. We recycle all the weird stuff. So it's a very cool and interesting company to be a part of.
What's the weirdest thing you've ever tried to recycle?
Hair.
Hair?
Yes. That's why I reached out to TerraCycle the first time. I was like, how do I recycle hair?
Okay.
Yeah, because I would have clip-ons, extensions at home. And I'm like, what am I going to do with these?
Right. Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
And
since that time, because I think that was about 3 years ago, we've launched TerraCycle, which is primarily focused on solutions for hair. We have a synthetic hair box. You can compost real hair. It's a very interesting journey we've been on.
And that's a huge piece of what the creator economy has done with sustainability, is just opened up some of those ideas. So there are so many different ways that TerraCycle is looking to help. How are you utilizing creators to get that message out?
Yeah, so we use creators primarily for our zero waste boxes just because we found that people are more receptive to them. They understand them a little bit better.
All right, so let's talk about what the zero waste box does.
Yeah, it is a cardboard box that people purchase from our website. There are different waste streams that you can recycle per box. We have tons and tons of different types of boxes, but our most popular is the all-in-one box where you can put pretty much anything in it,
You
and
just
we'll
put
recycle it. Anything.
So, and then where do you bring it? How do you drop it
And
off?
then you just ship it back to us and we recycle it.
Okay. In the sustainability space, is having people have the education to know what they should do in a given situation, because you can't expect everybody to do everything right every step of the way. But how do we help out with that education piece so that people know what's expected of them?
Yeah. Specifically at TerraCycle, our voice on social media is an educational buddy. Like, we're there for your sustainability journey, and we realize that there is imperfect sustainability out there. A small step makes a huge difference, and we're not expecting everyone to be perfect. And we're also not trying to position ourselves as a replacement for curbside recycling, which also is imperfect, but we're all working towards, a better solution for our waste. And that's where TerraCycle sort of comes in. So when we talk to creators, we definitely position ourselves as that educational buddy, and we don't go for any kind of messaging that is attacking anyone or making anyone feel like,
How dare you not be a saint?
or why did you buy a new mattress or stuff like that. Like, we just don't want anyone to feel like they're being attacked. So that's an important part of our creator messaging.
Well, I think that is important, which is making it aspirational,
Yeah.
and because that's the piece that does fit the overall creator journey, right? Because part of the magic of the creator economy is you find someone you like and they tell you to do things and you're like, okay, I like that, I'm going to do it. You don't tend to like people that chide you too much. So in terms of that educational message, can you give us a sense, Paula, about how that voice might come through in some of your content?
So you make a good point. Like, you don't want to be so preachy at the same time. And also you just don't want to get boring, always telling people what to do. So you have to be creative and funny about things. And also just, tell people you can reach out to me in case you have any questions regarding sustainability and sustainable fashion. So it's just trying to create that balance of like, actually there is a problem and we all have to do better, but I'm not going to judge you every day and shame you, but I'm just going to inspire you for things that are better, a better way to do things. So, see if you like it.
Okay, so how do you think about being funny?
I don't think I'm really funny, but some people say that I'm funny. Some people say that I'm not. I actually got an opportunity to write a book for dummies.
Oh, nice.
They said that unsustainable fashion.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Yeah, it was launched in February, March of this year. And they said that they just found that my voice was just not intimidating and funny as well. I was like, that's interesting because I'm not naturally a funny person. I'm actually an introvert as well.
So what is it about introverts and sustainability? We'll talk about
I think
that
it's
more.
more like hiding behind the phone sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, but and you bring up a really good point, which is how do you stand out with that messaging? Because that messaging needs to find a way to be inspirational and joyful, and people need to feel proud of themselves without feeling judgy of other people. And that's a very interesting balance to hit.
Yes.
Right? So when TerraCycle's looking, how do you decide whose voice works for you?
Yeah, we tend to vet our creators based off of kind of what they've been speaking about. So we take a look at their past couple posts, any other brands that they might have worked with, seeing if it aligns with our mission. We do tend to avoid people that are a little too doom and gloom is kind of how we put it, because we are looking for more of a positive spin to the solutions that we're presenting. It's not positive that there's a waste crisis, but it is a positive that there are solutions out there. So we do vet our creators in that way, and kind of just talk to them a little bit beforehand and align our missions and make sure that it's a good fit.
And can we talk a little bit about how sustainability has gone from, I wouldn't say a niche issue, but how it's become so mainstream to everybody. Can you talk about how that's a change that, you refer to a waste crisis? How has that changed over the last period of time?
Yeah, I think there used to be the sustainability niche, and they were very on Wall Street, protesting climate change and doing what they could. And it was all great stuff. But now, because of the waste crisis and because it's so prevalent in today's society, most people have a baseline care for the waste that they're producing, for the planet, for climate change, for the animals that are suffering because of climate change. Everyone has some sort of connection back to why they want to reduce the amount of waste that they're using, for the most part. So I think that's how sustainability has sort of shifted. And while the niche, I feel like, is still a little bit small, you'll still find a piece of that in everyone. So a sustainability influencer might be harder to come across, but that sustainability influencer probably has a very wide reach because everyone has a baseline care about the planet.
And so since it is more mainstream, do you find yourself looking for sustainability people? Do you find yourself looking for just general lifestyle people who also have a desire for less waste in the world?
It's definitely based on the campaign that we're running. So we have done fully sustainability influencers, and they've been great for us. They have a little bit more of a specific call to action than a lifestyle influencer might. But we have worked with more general lifestyle wellness people, health and wellness kind of influencers. They care about the products they're buying. They care about secondhand use. They care about the waste that they're creating, but they wouldn't call themselves a sustainability influencer. So we've worked with both, and both have been great because our audience really ranges from pre-recycling programs to zero waste boxes. Both have a very different audience, and just getting TerraCycle as a solution out there, we can kind of tap into a wide range of influencers.
Okay. And for you, Paula, being a sustainable fashion content creator, do you find a lot of companies that are into sustainability reaching out to you, or is it more fashion? Are you sometimes I don't have any understanding as to why this person's reaching out to me? Anything like that?
I mean, I would say it's a mix of both. I think most people that reach out to me are fashion, but I would love to work with other brands within the space, TerraCycle. More lifestyle things. Maybe something about green banking. I don't know.
Green banking is a big deal.
Yeah, so something like that would be interesting for me as well, and my audience as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And as a content creator, how do you like for brands to reach out to you?
Could email me.
No. But I guess what I mean is when brands are reaching out to you, are they giving you the information that you need to understand the collaboration? Are there times where, we've talked to some content creators that are I don't know why I have children, I'm a mom influencer, and they're talking to me about a dump truck, whatever it works out to be.
Yes. I mean, I've got some of those that will reach out and just definitely not, relevant to me at all. I think they're just trying their luck. But I do get a lot of, brands and companies that are within my niche that reach out. Some of them provide clear information. Others, I might have to ask more questions. But for the most part, it's been pretty positive.
Okay. What piece of content of yours sort of exploded that you weren't expecting?
What to do with kids' clothes.
What to do with kids' clothes?
Yes. So I think I did a post years ago, before even Reels and all of this stuff, about, what to do with your kids' clothes when they've outgrown them, how to deal with that sustainably.
So do you still have people coming to you for that post?
Because, whenever I do those posts, I include my daughter somehow, and she thinks they do well because of her.
Oh.
Well, have we proven her wrong yet? Have you put her into new content? Maybe
I don't put her in content that much. So she's like, I think I made you go viral, Mommy. I said, I think maybe you did, but I just think that a lot of parents have found that they really struggle with kids stuff related to sustainability. So I found that although that's not really my niche, I'm finding that a lot of people are interested in those type of things once it comes to kids and just sustainability.
A lot of the kid stuff, there are a lot of really specific rules around what you're supposed to do with it and what you're not supposed to do with it.
Yeah, and even there could be recalls as well.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So you had the piece of content about disposing of kids' clothes. Was there any other one?
I think it was something related to my daughter as well. And
I think she might be right. I think she might be the key to your virality.
I think what was it about? But it was definitely foundational sustainability for kids. How to have your kids grow up with a more sustainable fashion mindset. I can't even remember exactly what I wrote, but people really liked it.
Okay, so sort of getting the next generation hooked on sustainability, as it were.
Yeah, because people don't realize this, but fast fashion comes at kids pretty hard. And it could be not even directly, but, it could be like, oh my goodness, so-and-so has this cute dress. I want to dress just like this person. And then you ask, where did you get it from? I won't mention names, but it's usually, specific brands, brands that we know in the fast fashion space. So the kids just really, get into it because they want to look a specific way.
Right. And so everyone wants to dress like their friends, see their friends, and all of that.
And when they're not old enough, like they're not teen, so they're not really into thrifting yet. So they're just like maybe 10, 8. So thrifting is not something they can really necessarily do. Teens is different. They want to look different. They want, to have unique clothes. So they could be into thrifting. But younger kids, it's still a lot of fast fashion.
Yeah, that makes sense. So now what we're going to talk about is the brass tacks. I want to talk about this from the brand perspective and as well as from the creator perspective. How do these interactions get created? What are all the steps that go into it? So I want to start first with Rosie on the campaign side. Can you talk about how campaigns are conceptualized at TerraCycle?
Sure. So we start with the goal of the campaign, which for our zero waste boxes will always be sales. Then we kind of decide the budget and how many influencers we'll work with, what the strategy is. Working with influencers is our top of funnel strategy to bring in new customers. So we always think that through. And then when we go to set the campaign, we kind of just identify what influencers we think we should work with. If it's something like a net casting campaign where we're just trying to reach as many people as possible, we'll open up the audience to more lifestyle and sustainability creators rather than just the sustainability creators niche. And then we go from there.
Okay, so I'm going to take it a step back because I think this is fascinating. So I think we all know this, but when people are working in the creator economy, they usually have one of two goals. Goal number one is I want everyone to know who I am. But TerraCycle is really interested in actual ROI, actual sales.
Yeah, so a little bit of both. And it depends on what we're promoting at the time. Our free recycling programs, for instance, don't require any purchases from anyone. So when we use creators to talk about our free recycling programs, it's a little bit harder to track the ROI on that, but it's a good time to just explain what TerraCycle does, get people on board with our mission, get people thinking about the waste that they create, just thinking about our mission.
Okay, and so now you have them thinking about it, and now they want to do something about it. So let's talk through that process to getting them to want to buy the zero waste boxes. When you're looking for creators, what are the metrics that you like to zero in on in addition to the type of content they create?
Yeah, we primarily work with micro, nano influencers. We've just found them to be very authentic, very good at getting the word out, very willing to work with us and just be a partner. Plus they fit in our budget, which is always great.
Hey, that is good. But I think what you're talking about in terms of authenticity is extremely important. The magic of working in the creator economy is getting the benefit of people having a genuine belief that they have a relationship with someone. Mm-hmm. That's a lot easier to do with a micro or a nano influencer than it is with, it'd be great, I'm sure, if you had Charlie D'Amelio TikToking about zero waste, but that's not as genuine a relationship.
Definitely. Yeah. We've always talked about, what could we do to get like a Kim Kardashian, a Charlie D'Amelio to talk about a zero waste box, but it's not necessarily something that falls into their audience's cares or in their niche at all. So we definitely try to be very targeted with who we choose, and the micro and nano influencers just have like a very authentic and well-built audience. So that's sort of where we start, and we usually aim for 2% engagement rate. So that's something else we look at before we move forward.
And what social media platforms are you hoping to focus on the most?
We primarily focus on Instagram. We've thought about venturing over to TikTok, but the influencer escape is quite new there. As a personal user of TikTok, I see paid partnership content not perform as well as an organic post. So we don't want to dip our toes in there just yet. TerraCycle's pretty new at creating content on TikTok as well, so it's not really a place that we're driving people, but our Instagram is hitting our primary audience, so that's why we choose to stay there.
A lot of dancing in the TerraCycle TikTok account.
We did do a corn TikTok, so
Oh, you did corn?
We
Was
did
it all
the
about
corn.
was it all about the juice?
it was all about the juice.
Yeah. Okay. So we're ROI focused. We're looking for those smaller influencers. I want to talk about compensation for a second.
Yeah.
It's a really important piece of the pie. So as a content creator, how do you like to work with brands on a compensation level?
I mean, it would be great. Being a nano influencer, I don't always get compensation, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. But it's always good to, get paid something for what you do.
Mm-hmm. And have you seen different types of compensation models? I'm curious at TerraCycle, like, are you doing pay per post? Are you trying to work with people on an affiliate basis?
Yeah, so we do both. When we started working with creators, we kind of started in like an ambassador type space where people were choosing to post for free or in exchange for product. We saw that there was success there, and that's when we moved into more of a paid post type of partnership. We start out with a paid per post. We usually send what we're willing to pay, and then there's a counter offer situation, or they send us their media kit. We talk through, maybe it's just stories, maybe it's a reel, maybe it's an in-feed post, and we kind of go back and forth until we both agree on a number. We also provide our creators with a personalized discount code so that we can track the amount of purchases that are coming through their discount code. When we see success with that discount code, we move them into an affiliate type model where they're offered to get paid per purchase.
Okay. And do you sort of find that, you go from this large pool of people who are getting a sample to a smaller pool that you're doing pay per post? Are there certain content creators that all of a sudden you notice their link just outperforms everybody?
Yeah, absolutely. And we've even reached out to them and said, what did you do differently than everyone else? And a lot of times it's just having an engaged audience. So even if they're not necessarily in the sustainability niche, we've had people get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of code usages, and we just didn't see it coming at all.
And do you make it a point to make sure that they're in every campaign from that point forward?
Yep. So our affiliate model, basically, it's forever. So once you join it, you can post as much as you want.
You will sustain forever.
We'll keep sending you boxes after X amount of code usages. A lot of people see the value in our zero waste boxes because it is quite a unique service. But yeah, we'll keep sending them boxes as long as they keep getting code usages, and they can post as much as they want to earn as much as they want.
Okay. And we see a lot of companies and businesses moving toward that model because it does really align compensation with what the brand wants,
Right.
which is driving those sales in a mission-oriented way, of course. But you need to be continuing to drive those sales. Now, you talked about personalized discount codes, and you sort of you said it really fast. So I want to go back for a second. Can you talk about some of the analysis that you're able to do based on personalized discount codes and why that's so important for anybody who wants to have a really scaled creator program?
Yeah, so we create our discount codes through our e-commerce platform, which is called Spree. And through there, we can track how much was made in the purchase. So if there's multiple boxes made, we can track where the customer came from, what influencer is the most successful. And it's just a good give back. I think everyone is always happy to see a discount code. So having the discount codes has been super important for us to track the ROI. Whereas with our free recycling programs, when we run influencer campaigns, it misses that little bit of tracking, and we can't nail down exactly where signups are coming from. We have to go dig a little bit deeper into Google Analytics, kind of pick apart where signups are sort of coming from. So it's important for us to be able to track that, track the ROI, and track it back to a specific influencer.
Okay. And so Paula, if you're ever in those, have you had the opportunity to work as an affiliate for different brands?
I definitely have. I think most of my successful affiliate programs have been actually from blogging.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people don't talk much about blogging, but traditional blogging, like writing on a website, is also another way that actually many influencers, content creators in my
You
space.
can say whatever you want. I'm trying
in my
very
space
hard
actually do pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Well, and one thing that's very interesting about blog content and YouTube content actually goes together with this is when the value comes. So the value of a TikTok is like for about an hour after the TikTok. I'm making up numbers here, but it's very fast.
Yep.
The value of an Instagram post is not quite as fast as the TikTok post, but it's pretty quick. Whereas when you have something like a blog or something like a YouTube, people are finding that later, and they're finding it for different reasons. And they're finding it because they want to find it, which is a whole different thing. So there is a lot of potential there. And it is the OG, as they would say, of the content creator economy.
And
right?
I think even for like some niches, it makes more sense. Like I guess if you're like a fast fashion content creator, probably it's like, instant gratification. Somebody's going to buy the viral dress right there and then. But like in my niche, I've seen that people want to make more informed decisions. So like if they're looking out for something related to sustainability, they might just Google it, and then they'll come across, a well-written review or article, and then they will purchase from there. So I have some friends who have been really successful as sustainable fashion and living traditional bloggers.
Okay. So we talked a little bit about compensation. We talked a little bit about those pieces. How are you making sure that the content creators know the goal of the campaign, right? How do you do that? Give them the guideposts without stifling their natural creativity.
Yeah, we send them a brief. We give them talking points. TerraCycle and zero waste boxes can be a little bit complicated to understand, especially because recycling in general is kind of hard to understand, especially in the United States. So we set guidelines. Our guidelines really are just mentions and hashtags, but then we give them speaking points just to better understand what they're promoting. And we always ask them to use it, figure it out, and see how they like it first before they post about it. They send us their post for approval, and I will only edit a post if there's incorrect information in it or spelling error or capitalization error, but I will never take away a creator's authentic voice from their post.
What was the most creative post? Because I just saw in your face. So what was the most creative post that you had a creator put out there?
The most creative. I've seen people come back with really cool reels, just like putting all of their stuff in a zero waste box. I've seen, I'm not sure.
So was it like a transition in a reel? Like
I think
they had all the garbage, not
Yeah.
garbage, but
We've seen
waste.
piles of trash being put into zero waste boxes. We've seen creators do it with their kids, which is always really great. Creators do it with their dogs, which is really great. I've seen a dog put trash in a box before.
Do you have special boxes for dogs?
We do have a pet supply box.
You have a pet supply box.
Yep, and we have pet supply for recycling programs as well. So
I want to see the content that the creators created for the pet supply box.
Yeah, definitely.
And do you track the sales for all of the boxes separately? Or is it kind of more the big number that you care about?
We use our all-in-one as the main product that we promote just because it's the easiest to understand. So most creators get an all-in-one box unless we're doing a niche campaign with beauty influencers or something like that. But yeah, we do a breakdown of how many boxes people are buying, what boxes they're preferring to buy based off of the influencer. It's mostly the all-in-one just because it's the easiest.
So as we're tracking, right, and as we're then looking, what other types of, have you considered doing other types of creator engagements, like events or things like that?
Yeah. Plastic Free July just happened a couple months ago. We worked with a creator to do a partner post about cleaning up your beaches and recycling your cigarette butts with TerraCycle. So that was quite a different campaign that we haven't really done something in partnership with a creator on that level before. It was just very authentic. It was a good way to get our message out there, to talk about recycling cigarettes, which is a weird one.
Paula, as you're sitting here and chatting with us about the sustainability world, when you're thinking about sustainability with your children in the home, all of that, and you're saying to yourself, you know what, I want to write about something like a TerraCycle, like if you were going to be working with them, what's your process? What would you want to know? What would you want to be able to express and do?
So I did did write something with TerraCycle.
No, I know.
So I would propose, it depends, sometimes I might be approached by the brand, specifically they have some new fashion pieces that they want me to write a review on, or other times I might actually propose something. So for example, with TerraCycle, I did reached out to them and said, I want to do some type of Q&A thing about recycling hair. And then, they'll either get back to me and say we can do it. But really that's how it is. Yeah.
So in this case, you reached out and you said, I have this idea. So from the brand's perspective, how do you manage? I'm sure you have lots of different creators who reach out to you.
Yeah.
How do you manage through all of that?
To streamline things, most people can fall into the all-in-one zero waste box. So we'll drop them into a campaign like that, if possible. So everyone who's reaching out to us who falls into the, I just want to recycle a bunch of stuff, great. We'll move you to our all-in-one zero waste box campaign. When we get those specific questions and outreaches, we kind of take time to think about how many followers the influencer has, how much time it would take for us to go through with this campaign, what would the ROI look like. But yeah, just a bunch of different things to consider before we move forward with the partnership.
Okay. And do you think that's important for creators to know, that reaching out to the brand can work out really well? Well, I want to thank you both so much for coming in today. It's been a fascinating conversation on sustainability and the creator economy. First off, Paula Mugabi. Paula, where can people find your stuff?
So they can find me on Miss Paula Presents on Instagram, and also my book, Sustainable Fashion for Dummies.
Sustainable Fashion for Dummies. Okay. And Rosie, can you tell us where people can find you?
Well, you can find TerraCycle at TerraCycle.com to learn more about their solutions, or you can follow us on Instagram at TerraCycle. We talk a lot about our recycling solutions, but we also talk about the waste crisis and how the only solution to reducing your waste is to buy less.
All right. Well, thank you both and have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning in to the Ready, Set, Click podcast. Love this episode? Hit the subscribe button, give us a like, or leave a review. Until next time.